Hello, this is D, and I'm back with another video. Well, today we have a pretty big update regarding the ABK merger. We have an update from Microsoft CEO Satya Nadella. He was questioned on whether or not the CMA blocking the Activision deal would mean that Microsoft will not allow its games in the UK. And his response, I gotta say, is pretty shocking. So let's just get right into what he said.
On Monday, European regulators approved Microsoft's proposed acquisition of Activision Blizzard for $69 billion. I asked Nadella before this was announced what he thought would happen given the developments here in the U.S. and the U.K.
Look, I mean, the fundamental logic of this deal, bringing more competition and more opportunity for publishers and gamers, still holds. So as far as I'm concerned, we keep going. We wait for what the European Union decides. We have a process. We obviously respect the sovereignty of the United Kingdom and the CMA to decide what's good, in that country.
Could you ever see an age where you would sell the product in the U.S. if it was approved, sell the products in Europe and not sell it in the U.K. if they didn't approve it?
Let's wait for it all to play out.
Were you surprised by this decision in the UK?
Very much so. Very much so. Because in some sense, this is the most pro-competitive thing I've ever seen. And most people will say that this is, and in an interesting way, it is using, in some sense, a large company's ability to persist and go introduce more competition. And I think consumer surplus, if that is the goal, and more competition is the goal, and the benefit for small publishers is the goal, then it checks all the boxes. So I'm very surprised.
Now, as you can see, he was surprised by the CMA's decision. To him, it doesn't make any sense. In fact, he was kind of laughing at their explanation. He felt this deal is very good for competition, that it's going to allow cloud gaming to grow and other companies to prosper. He couldn't fathom the decision that they came to. And this was made before the EU actually approved the merger. Now, he goes on to say that let's wait and see how it plays out when he was asked on whether or not they will remove their Activision games if the deal is not approved. Now, I gotta say, this is pretty big news. Now, Microsoft is serious here. They want this deal to go through, and if it means that they gotta remove their games from the UK, it appears that they are prepared to do so, because he was asked flat out and he didn't say no. And this is obviously a possibility, because the reporter would not have asked this question if it wasn't a possibility, and Satya would have responded no also if it wasn't a possibility. And I was under the impression that this was a possibility. I didn't know for sure. Now we have confirmation that Microsoft can indeed pull out of the UK if this deal is not approved. And especially with their approval in the EU, this also makes this more plausible. Now, we're gonna have to wait to see what happens with the FTC. I do believe that that case, if it goes to trial, I think they're gonna lose. I think it's not even gonna get to trial. I think they're gonna remove it from the courts. They're gonna put some concessions in it, and I think the deal's gonna get approved from the FTC. The CMA, I don't really know what to say, because after yesterday's EU confirmation on the deal, they came out maybe a minute afterwards and pretty much said that they stand by their decision. And to be quite honest with you, it doesn't appear that the UK government is on the same wavelength as the CMA. As I pointed out last week, there's some new legislation in there to help these deals kind of go through without all of the red tape, with economic growth being at the forefront. So I do see a situation where perhaps the UK government is going to step in, because the CMA just seems really headstrong on the situation. And the way that appeals works, and if the appeal is granted, which I do feel it's going to be granted, because they made a lot of errors, such as using Game Pass subscribers and Xbox Live subscribers as cloud users when all of them weren't using the cloud. So a lot of their metrics were flawed. So I do believe it's going to be appealed, but once it gets appealed, they can just make the same decision again. And even with the set of new rules in play, they came up with that statement yesterday, and it just goes against what the UK government is trying to do. If I recall, the UK government says they want to be a new hub. They want to be like Silicon Valley. And this CMA ruling is not the case. And to be quite honest with you, all of the CMA's concerns were addressed yesterday with the EU concessions. All of the cloud providers, they will get a free license for Activision games. So how is this not going to breed competition? This is not a huge market. They said 60 to 70% market share is like a 1 to 5% market. It's barely started. So how are you going to say that they have a monopoly on a service that is not really in existence yet? Very few people use it. Just doesn't make sense. Now, I gotta be honest with you, this all bodes well. I'm excited to know that if this deal is denied in the UK, that Microsoft does have the option of not offering their products there. And I don't think that would be a huge W for Microsoft. Yes, they would get the deal through, but they would lose some money not having their products in the UK. So I think the best thing overall is for the CMA to approve this. However, it does appear that there is a path to finish this deal if the UK continues to block this deal. Anyways, I want to know what you guys think about all this, so let me know in the comment section down below. And like I usually say, please like, share, subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you guys on the next one.